Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories. The Delhi elections, of course, are underway, and that we'll be talking about, of course, over the next half hour. We're expecting a record turnout in Delhi once again. Can it better last time's a record turnout of 66%? We'll have to find out. It's just about to be time as far as that is concerned. We'll be also talking about the political crisis in Bihar. Yes, Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi and Nitish Kumar involved in a tussle. We'll be talking about all that and more over the next half hour. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Delhi votes to elect a 70-member assembly. Voting still underway in some stations even after the 6 p.m. stated time. Turnout expected to be better than last year's record turnout. Big guns of the national political leadership besides the candidate themselves have cast their ballots in the Delhi election. Political turmoil in Bihar intensifies and Nitish Kumar replaces Jitan Ram Manjhi as leader of the Legislative Party. Manjhi removed from JDU. Voting held for the 4 Rajya Sabha seats in Jammu and Kashmir. It's NC Congress versus the PDP-BJP combine in the state. And Russia, France and Germany agree on a plan to revive a ceasefire in Ukraine. Well, we'll get you all the updates from Delhi a little later, but first the political crisis in Bihar. Jitan Ram Manjhi has been thrown out of the JDU after a day of political turmoil. The decision was taken at the Legislative Party meeting, which also saw Nitish Kumar being elected the leader of the Legislative Party unanimously. The road was thus cleared for Nitish's return as Chief Minister. The meeting was attended by 97 MLAs. The political crisis in Bihar intensified after Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi recommended dissolution of the State Assembly in a cabinet meet, a proposal that was turned down by 21 of his ministers. Our correspondent Shyam Sundar has been tracking all these developments happening as far as Bihar is concerned, and he'll get us the latest on the situation over there. Shyam, fill us in. I mean, it's a day of real turmoil in Bihar politics today.
Definitely, Ishan. We are hearing news from Patna. First news came that Jitan Ram Manjhi, Chief Minister, held a cabinet meeting and then recommended to dissolve the assembly. But most of the ministers were against this decision, and this decision was rejected. According to these 21 ministers who were present in the cabinet and are with Mr. Nitish Kumar, who is elected new leader of the Bihar JDU legislative party. And then another center of activity is in Delhi, and especially BJP leaders from Bihar. They have come to Delhi and met Mr. Amit Shah, President of Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Nandakishore Yadav, who is leader of opposition in Bihar. He is here. And Mr. Sushil Modi, former Deputy Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, he is here. And after Mr. Amit Shah, they went to meet Mr. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, and they are briefing about the situation of Bihar.
All right, Shyam, just stay on with us because let's listen in from the leaders from Bihar, what they've had to say. Let's listen in to Sushil Modi from the BJP and also Jitan Ram Manjhi.
राज्यसभा के चुनाव में भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने जो गंदा खेल खेला वैसा बिहार की राजनीति में होता नहीं था। जिस ढंग से हमारे दल को तोड़ने फोड़ने की और जिस ढंग से खुलेआम पैसे का प्रयोग किया जा रहा था, हमारे सामने वो चुनौती खड़ी हुई। तो जो सरकार तत्काल बिहार में बनी थी वो चल नहीं सकती थी।
सपोर्ट और विरोध करने का भी प्रश्न पैदा नहीं होता है, ना हमसे किसी ने सपोर्ट मांगा है। लेकिन महादलित को तो मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश जी ने बनाया था और नीतीश जी ने नैतिकता की दुहाई दी थी, बड़ी बड़ी बातें कही कि बड़ा त्याग किया, बड़ा बलिदान किया उन्होंने लोकतंत्र के लिए। आज 7 महीने में ऐसे क्या परिस्थिति पैदा हो गई, एक महादलित को हटाकर वो खुद मुख्यमंत्री बनना चाहते हैं।
And our correspondent Shyam Sundar, of course, has been tracking all these developments happening in Bihar. Shyam, but looking from a future perspective now, the elections in Bihar are imminent. I mean, they're expected to happen later this year. So, I mean, the mood really being set, and Nitish Kumar taking hold of the JDU and the BJP also smelling an opportunity to make inroads into Bihar.
Well, as far as Bihar situation is concerned and the future strategy of both JDU, RJD and BJP is concerned, we are watching for last few months that Jitan Ram Manjhi, the kind of statements he was giving, it was very clear that he is going away from Nitish Kumar, and the kind of statements were coming from BJP. BJP was looking for an opportunity to make a crack in JDU, and the way Nitish Kumar has created a Mahadalit constituency in Bihar, like OBCs and Dalits. We have to remember that Nitish Kumar created this constituency, but when he selected Mr. Jitan Ram Manjhi to head Bihar government, after that Jitan Ram Manjhi realized that there is a new constituency which is called Mahadalit, and he is seen as the biggest leader of that community in Bihar. So he realized that he can also be a prominent leader of Bihar, and the kind of support he was getting from indirect support from BJP, he decided to part ways from Janata Dal United. As far as Janata Dal United is concerned, they wanted to contest next Bihar elections in the leadership of a strong leader, and they have Nitish Kumar because Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav is still not allowed to contest elections. So,
Right.
As far as the future strategy is concerned, BJP will try to capitalize on this situation which is created in Bihar.
All right, Shyam, we'll leave it over there. Shyam, of course, we'll keep a track of all these developments happening in Bihar for us. Thanks very much for that. Well, moving on to Delhi now. Delhi voted today to elect an assembly after nearly a year under central rule. Voting was scheduled till 6 p.m., but as per guidelines, is continuing in some areas. Reports through the day, in fact, indicate a high turnout at polling stations that suggest an overall turnout bettering the 66% of last time. Here's more.
The ultimate test, the fate of 673 candidates, including some political big guns, in the hands of the voter casting his ballot. 12,177 polling stations were in place for close to 1.3 crore voters across the 70 assembly constituencies of the national capital. Over 95,000 poll officials enabling smooth conduct of polling, besides the massive security deployed that ensured incident-free elections. Over 700 booths had been classified sensitive. Early this morning, the Prime Minister had tweeted calling on people to cast their ballot. He specially focused on the youth. Voting that began at 8 a.m. was slow to start with, but picked up rapidly and had crossed the one-third mark by 1 p.m., 48% by 3 p.m. All predictions said new records would be set.
जिसकी बने स्थायी सरकार बने, इस उम्मीद से हम लोग सबसे पहले उठ करके आए कि हमें वोट देना है.
Safety of the women is the most important priority. I think the person should look at.
मेरा तो एक जुझारू और ईमानदार कैंडिडेट होना चाहिए जो अपने क्षेत्र को काम करे.
देश के लिए कुछ करेंगे, हमारी अच्छी दिल्ली बनाएंगे, स्वच्छ दिल्ली बनाएंगे और लेडीज के ऊपर जो अत्याचार हो रहे हैं उन्हें मिटाएंगे.
स्टेबल गवर्नमेंट चाहते हैं जी, जो कुछ करे. बातें तो बहुत सुनते हैं 15-20 साल से, काम कुछ नहीं हो रहा.
It is our right and it is our duty also.
A look at some key candidates and their constituencies this time. Chief Ministerial candidates Kiran Bedi from Krishna Nagar, Aam Aadmi Party convener Arvind Kejriwal from New Delhi, and Congress's Ajay Makan from Sadar Bazar. Some other big names, Manish Sisodia from Patparganj, Sharmishta Mukherjee from Greater Kailash, and Jagdish Mukhi from Janakpuri. Also not to be missed, the continuing mind games by both the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. Both sides talking about voter intimidation. Aam Aadmi Party filed a complaint with the Election Commission against Kiran Bedi, alleging violation of the model code in her holding a Padyatra on voting day. Earlier, the BJP claimed forced voting by Aam Aadmi Party cadres lined up outside polling stations. Both rejected allegations as far-fetched. Just over 66% of Delhi's eligible voters had cast their franchise in the city's last assembly election in December 2013. There's widespread speculation on what the turnout this time could mean. We'll know on counting day. on the 10th of February. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Our correspondents Vishal Daya and Kriti Mishra are in New Delhi at various locations that they'll tell us about, because very critical locations both of you are at. Kriti, I'll come to you first. You're in the New Delhi constituency that's seeing a very high-profile contest as far as the former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is concerned. How's the poll percentage there, and what are the issues that the people are talking about?
Exactly. It's a nail-biting battle between Arvind Kejriwal, Kiran Walia and BJP's Nupur Sharma. So several high-profile voters came to this Nirman Bhavan polling station in the New Delhi constituency that included Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Congress President Sonia Gandhi, Union Minister Maneka Gandhi and BJP leader Varun Gandhi. So as the day unfolded, a controversy emerged when Nupur Sharma, BJP's Nupur Sharma, alleged that Aam Aadmi Party workers misbehaved with her and even pushed her when she tried to stop them from illegally campaigning on the polling day. Aam Aadmi Party, on the other hand, alleged that Nupur Sharma is just trying to gain sympathy. So all this happened through the day, and also the voters were talking about women's security, about power supply and about water supply. Back to the studio now.
Alright, Kriti, just hold on over there. We'll go across to Vishal also. Vishal, tell us as far as the overall percentage goes. I mean, you've been travelling across various constituencies in the national capital, and what does the mood seem like? This time around, it seems that Delhi is really wearing the political allegiance on their sleeve.
Well, Ishan, as far as the turnout of voters is concerned, there was some, concern amongst the political analysts as well as amongst the election commission officials that because of the election fatigue, remember there was assembly elections in Delhi in 2013, and there was Lok Sabha elections in 2014, and now we have, at the beginning of 2015, we have Delhi again going for assembly polls. So there was a concern as to how many voters will come out, but going by the figures, all of us should be happy that the national capital and its voters have lived up to the tag which has been given to Delhi, that is the voters out here have been known to come out and vote in large numbers. Till 5 p.m. the figures which were compiled by the election commission released says that till 5 p.m. more than 63% of Delhi's total electorate had come out and cast their votes. Now that is definitely going to go up. At 6 p.m. officially the voting is over. If you can see right behind me, there are policemen guarding the ways to some of the election booths, some of the polling booths, and 6 o'clock nobody is being allowed to enter, but those who have already entered the polling booths before 6 o'clock will be allowed to cast their votes. And in last 1 hour we had seen long queues outside a number of polling booths all across the city state, and that's why this number is likely to cross last year's figure, rather 2013's figure of 66%, which we saw in the last assembly elections. Now the 2013 figure itself was around 8 to 9% more than what it was in 2008. Right. So there is a gradual increase in the number of voters which are coming out and casting their franchise out here, using their right to vote. And this time around we are hoping that if it was 63% around 5 p.m. and given the number of people who are standing still in queues at some of the polling booths, this might hit somewhere around 70%. All right, Vishal Daya and Kriti Mishra, thanks very much for that. You've been keeping a track since early morning, so go take a little bit of a rest as well, both of you, but thanks very much for that update. All right, let's talk about what Kriti was talking about, the bees in the national capital who came out to vote, and they included many central leaders living in the city coming out to cast their vote. Leaders whose fate is at stake were out early, in fact, to cast their ballot. Kiran Bedi at Krishna Nagar, Arvind Kejriwal at Lodi Colony, and Ajay Makhan at Rajouri Garden. Besides the other candidates rubbing shoulders and lining up with the common man to cast their ballot, among others are Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung, former Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit, Congress President Sonia Gandhi, and her children Rahul and Priyanka, as well as Robert Vadra.
भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता बिल्कुल गिव अप कर चुके हैं, वो चुनाव हार चुके हैं। कई बूथों के ऊपर तो वो अपनी टेबल सिमट के जा चुके हैं। अब चुनाव लगभग एक तरफा होता जा रहा है और मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि लोग ऐसी पार्टी को वोट देंगे जो आपको ईमानदार राजनीति दे सकती है और जो दिल्ली से रिश्वतखोरी खत्म कर सकती है।
एक वोट के साथ आपको 2 लीडर मिल रहे हैं, नरेंद्र मोदी जी और किरण बेदी, आपको 2 लीडर मिल रहे हैं। एक वोट से 2 लीडर्स, जो हमारे विकास वर्ल्ड क्लास सिटी बनाने के लिए सारी लीडरशिप जानते हैं, सारी क्षमता रखते हैं, उसका सपना ले रहे हैं और वो कह रहे हैं कि मैं सूद के साथ वापस दूंगा जो आपने मुझे 7 लोकसभा सीट जिताई थी।
We've had a good campaign in last few weeks. We have raised some very healthy issues of Delhi. We have raised the issues confronting Delhi, problems confronting Delhi. We have also offered solutions to these problems. And unlike our competitors, we have not resorted to petty individual remarks like not getting Republic Day pass or join the party to get a Republic Day pass or things like that.
हमें उम्मीद से लड़े हैं और 10 तारीख को हमारी उम्मीदें पूरी होंगी, ये हम कामना कर रहे हैं।
किस तरह की उम्मीदें मैम, किस तरह की उम्मीदें पूरी होने के बाद कामना?
देखिए मैं आपको बता दूं, कोना चुनाव है, इसमें कौन सी पार्टी बहुमत लेकर आएगी, फुल लेकर आएगी, कितनी लेकर आएगी, ये अंदाजा लगाना बहुत मुश्किल है।
And senior journalist Gargi Persai joins us in the studio to help us understand. Gargi, we're expecting a record turnout in Delhi, but usually record turnouts, high percentage of voter turnout, usually means something. In Delhi, it's very difficult to call this election as of now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The high turnout, we yet have to see, but it looks like it might touch 70%. And a high turnout, personally, I feel, might benefit BJP. We have seen a lot of women coming out, which might also go in favor of the chief ministerial candidate. I would have thought that a percentage of around 65% would have been seen a neck and neck fight between BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. But a high percentage, I wouldn't know. I mean, one has to still wait and see what happens.
All right, so we'll have to wait till the 10th to really find out what happened. But Gargi, if you talk about what has been happening over the past 1 month, this entire campaign, I mean, for the BJP, it became a matter of prestige, and for the Aam Aadmi Party, it was a matter for survival, wasn't it? And that is what was reflected in the campaign as well over the past 1 month.
Not only that, not only is this election a matter of prestige for BJP, it also brought about a kind of coming together of a lot of parties which wanted to stop the BJP juggernaut, just like the Trinamool Congress also backed Aam Aadmi Party, the Janata Dal United backed Aam Aadmi Party. Some of the left parties also said they would be with Aam Aadmi Party wherever their candidates were not in the fray, which of course they were not. And of course for Aam Aadmi Party it was a question of survival, it is a question of survival. And I would think that this time round they were slightly in a better position, they were slightly more coherent, and they knew the ropes of how to fight an election better than in December 2013. It is of course a question of survival for the Aam Aadmi Party, but if they win, we'll have to see how they run a government, and if they don't, and if they have to sit in opposition, I think it would be good for them.
All right, and we'll have to, again, once I would say, the 10th is the day when the votes are counted, so we'll have to wait and watch as to whether it will be Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal or Chief Minister Kiran Bedi or even somebody from the Congress. But the Congress at this time, Gargi, not really in the frame, not being able to make that much of an impact, and I mean, where are the Congress votes going? Because the Congress used to get, for example, a lot of the minority votes. Have they completely gone over to the AAP side? What do you make of the votes of the Congress party?
Wherever Congress has put up Muslim candidates, I think the Muslims will vote for those candidates even if the Congress were to lose the election, as it looks like. And otherwise, the minority vote, I would think, wouldn't go to BJP, they would come to AAP. Although yesterday's incident about Shahi Imam Bukhari giving a call for Muslims to vote for the Aam Aadmi Party, and then the Aam Aadmi Party saying that they don't want him to really give a call or a fatwa for them, did not augur well for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Right.
It may have made some Muslims stay back at home or go in for nota, I would think. There was a little disadvantage to the Aam Aadmi Party because of that, and it would have caused a polarization of votes in favor of BJP.
All right. So we'll have to really, okay, once again, I'll say that we'll have to wait and watch as the cliche goes. But thank you very much, Gargi, for coming in and helping us understand the politics of Delhi a little better. All right, moving on, there's also an election on for the Rajya Sabha. In fact, voting for the 4 Rajya Sabha seats in Jammu and Kashmir took place today at the State Legislative Complex. 7 candidates are in the fray, 2 each from the PDP, BJP and National Conference, and 1 from the Congress are contesting the Rajya Sabha elections. Under the seat-sharing agreements, both the PDP, BJP and the National Conference Congress are contesting these elections together. The National Conference has announced its support to Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad, who is seeking re-election as his present term ends this month. Results will come out later today.
जो सेक्युलर फोर्सेस हैं और सेक्युलर सोच रखने वाले जो इंडिविजुअल इंडिपेंडेंट एमएलएज हैं वो अपनी अंदर की आवाज को सुन के जनाब गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब के हक में वोट देके उनको यहां से कामयाब कराएंगे.
Time for a very quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, we'll be talking about the 100 heads of missions of India who've come back to the country to meet with the Prime Minister, and what did the Prime Minister have to say? We'll tell you on the other side.
Hello and welcome to India's World. Economic policies are now being literally decided not in Athens.
See, ultimately there is no such thing as a free lunch.
There is too much political stakes in keeping the EU hanging together.
Watch experts debate the relationship of Greece with the European Union in India's World, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back, you're watching the news at 6. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated a conference of Indian missions in Delhi. Over 110 heads of Indian missions participated in the conclave. Modi in his address spelled the ways in which diplomats can contribute to the country's development. With the theme Diplomacy for Development, the meet brainstormed the projection of India abroad and perennials of foreign policy. The conference that first took place in 2007 is held every year, where ministers interact with the ambassadors and high commissioners. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj was also present in the conference.
और 4 सूत्र इन्हें दिए कि सबसे पहले तो ये स्वयं इन सभी योजनाओं को विस्तार से समझें. उसके बाद ये अपने अपने देश में किन क्षेत्रों में उन देशों की क्षमताएं हैं उनको चिन्हित करें, आइडेंटिफाई करें. फिर यहां से लौटने के बाद अपनी सरकारों से और अपने वहां के उद्योगपतियों से भारत में भागीदार बनने के लिए प्रेरित करें. और चौथी बात हमने जो इनसे कही वो ये कि अगर इस देश के कोई नियम आपकी इस भागीदारी में बाधक बन रहे हैं या आपके कोई समझौते अधूरे पड़े हैं या कोई और रुकावट आ रही है तो आप हमें बताएं ताकि हम उसको भी यहां से दुरुस्त कर सकें.
On to some international news now, and there is still no clarity on whether captured US activist and aid worker in Syria, Kayla Mueller, is alive. Islamic State militants had said Mueller was killed by a Jordanian airstrike in Syria. Mueller's parents urged the IS to make contact with them and treat the aid worker as a guest. IS released images of a ruined building where it says Mueller died, but no images of the aid worker herself. It said Jordanian jets had bombed the building on the outskirts of their Syrian stronghold, Raqqa. If Kayla Mueller's death is confirmed, she would be the 4th American to die while being held by the IS. White House officials say they have seen no proof she was killed, while ruling out concessions on negotiations with terrorists and hostage takers.
We do not, at the present, have any evidence to corroborate ISIL's claims. But obviously we'll keep reviewing the information at hand. We have a broader policy with respect to hostages around the world. We don't make concessions to terrorists and to hostage takers. We don't pay ransom. And we adhere to that policy rigorously.
Now, Russia, France and Germany have agreed to work on a peace plan to end fighting in Ukraine. Vladimir Putin, Francois Hollande and Angela Merkel discussed the plan, which is thought to be an attempt to revive a September ceasefire signed in Belarus. The 3 leaders will speak to Poroshenko to discuss the plan on Sunday.
More than 5 hours of talks at the Kremlin between Russian President Vladimir Putin and the leaders of France and Germany yielded no deal to end the fighting in eastern Ukraine. But the 3 agreed to continue diplomacy in hopes of clinching a long-awaited ceasefire within days. Though none of the leaders spoke publicly, sources say the meeting has been termed as constructive.
Исходя из предложений, сформулированных президентом Франции и канцлером ФРГ, в настоящее время совместная работа ведется для подготовки текста возможного совместного документа по имплементации Минских договоренностей.
The Belarus peace plan never fully took effect. According to the UN, continued fighting has killed more than 200 in the last month. However, Ukraine's president is hopeful that the peace proposal by France and Germany could work.
Poroshenko, sir, are you confident that the Franco-German...
More secure Europe than before. Thank you. Yeah.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, France's François Hollande and German Chancellor Angela Merkel will discuss the plan for eastern Ukraine by phone with President Petro Poroshenko on Sunday. Events in Ukraine are also expected to feature prominently at a security conference in Munich. Merkel, US Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov are all due to speak at this event. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more international news and updates in Global Buzz. More than 5,000 Jordanians took to the streets on Friday calling for revenge for the killing of a Jordanian pilot by the Islamic State group. After the midday prayers, Jordanians held a demonstration with the participation of Queen Rania Al Abdullah of Jordan. The US Central Command released aerial video footage of US and coalition airstrikes in parts of Iraq and Syria. The videos include one purporting to show coalition airstrikes carried out by Jordan in the vicinity of Al-Hasaka, Syria. A prominent Kenyan MP, George Mukai, was shot dead along with two bodyguards and a driver in early hours of Saturday. The attack took place in the center of the capital, Nairobi, when he was returning home after meeting family members in a restaurant and masked gunmen opened fire at them. They stole a briefcase and two pistols from the bodyguards. Indonesian divers have retrieved the bodies of two pilots of the AirAsia plane that crashed into the Java Sea in December with 162 people on board. Indonesian officials said the bodies were found in the plane cockpit, found about 20 meters from where the fuselage was located, and the bodies of the pilots were inside, still wearing uniforms and strapped to their seats. 98 bodies have been found so far. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.